Kyoto, Japan, 1582. A young samurai named Takeshi lay in his room at noon, unable to move. Not from injury, not from illness, from something worse, paralysis of will. His master, Yamamoto-sensei, stood in the doorway, watching. Finally, he spoke. "Takeshi, how long have you been lying here?" "Since dawn, master. I know I should train, I know I should practice, but I can't make myself move." Yamamoto entered the room, sat beside him. "You think laziness is your enemy. That's why you can't defeat it." Takeshi looked confused. "What do you mean?" "Laziness isn't the disease, it's the symptom. You're fighting the wrong battle. That's why willpower never works. You're trying to force yourself to move when the real problem is you don't understand why you're stuck." He stood. "Come with me. I'm going to teach you what the old masters discovered. 6 techniques that destroy laziness at its root, not through force, through understanding." This conversation would change everything Takeshi knew about action, discipline, and human nature. Here's what nobody tells you about laziness. It's not a character flaw, it's not weakness, it's not something you overcome through willpower or motivation or discipline. Laziness is a signal. Your mind's way of telling you something is misaligned, and when you understand what the ancient Japanese warriors discovered, you'll never see it the same way again. Right now, you're Takeshi. You know what you should do. Exercise, work, create, build. But you can't make yourself do it. You scroll instead, procrastinate instead, feel guilty instead. And every productivity guru tells you the same lie. You need more discipline, more willpower, more motivation. But the samurai discovered something different. They fought battles where hesitation meant death, where laziness in training meant defeat in combat. They couldn't rely on willpower because willpower runs out. So they developed techniques that made action effortless, not through force, through understanding the mechanisms that create stuck energy. The question is, are you ready to learn what they knew? The forbidden techniques that make laziness impossible? Let's begin. Kyoto, 1582, 3 months earlier. Takeshi was 19 years old when paralysis found him. He'd been training at the dojo for 2 years. Talented, dedicated. Everyone expected him to become a great warrior. Then something shifted. One morning he woke up and couldn't make himself get out of bed. Not because he was tired, because the thought of training felt impossible, heavy, overwhelming. He forced himself up eventually, went through the motions, but his movements were mechanical, lifeless. His master noticed. Over the following weeks, it got worse. Takeshi would sit in his room for hours, staring at nothing, knowing he should train, knowing he should practice, unable to move. The other students whispered, "Takeshi has lost his fire. He's become lazy." Takeshi heard them, felt shame, which made the paralysis worse. He tried everything, forced himself to train harder, slept less, pushed through exhaustion. It only made him more stuck. One day, he simply stopped, lay in his room, gave up. That's when Yamamoto-sensei found him. After their conversation, the master led Takeshi to a small meditation room. Inside, 6 scrolls hung on the wall, each with a different technique written in elegant calligraphy. "These," Yamamoto said, "are the 6 forbidden techniques. Forbidden because they reveal what most teachers don't want students to know. That discipline isn't about force, it's about alignment. That laziness isn't overcome, it's dissolved." He pointed to the first scroll. "We'll learn them one by one, not in theory, in practice. By the end, you'll understand why willpower was never the answer." Technique 1, Kaizen, the impossibly small step. "Your first problem," Yamamoto began, "is you're trying to eat the entire elephant. You look at training and see hours of work. Your mind rejects it before you begin. He placed a single grain of rice on the floor. This is Kaizen, continuous improvement through steps so small they're impossible to resist. Takeshi stared at the grain. I don't understand. Right now, you can't make yourself train for an hour, correct? Correct. Can you make yourself stand up? Takeshi paused. Yes, that's easy. Then stand up. Takeshi stood. Good. Now can you put on your training clothes? Yes. Then do it. Takeshi did. Can you walk to the training hall? Yes. Then walk. By the time Takeshi reached the training hall, fully dressed, ready to train, he realized what had happened. He'd broken through the paralysis not by forcing himself to train, but by making the first step so small it required no willpower. Yamamoto explained, the mind resists large demands. It cannot resist tiny ones. Kaizen isn't about doing more. It's about making the first step so small that laziness has nothing to grab onto. For the next week, Takeshi practiced this. When he felt paralyzed, he didn't try to do the whole task. He did the first microscopic step. Put on shoes, pick up the sword, walk to the door. Every time, once he started, momentum carried him forward. This, Yamamoto said, is the first technique. Make the action smaller than the resistance. Technique 2. Shosin, kill the outcome. Week 2. Takeshi could start tasks now, but he'd still get stuck, overwhelmed by the enormity of what he was trying to accomplish. Yamamoto noticed. You're still carrying the future. You practice the sword, but your mind is thinking, I need to master this. I need to be good enough. I need to impress the master. That weight crushes you before you begin. He demonstrated a simple sword strike. When I do this, I'm not trying to become a great swordsman. I'm not thinking about the outcome. I'm just striking. Here, now, this movement, nothing else. This is Shosin, beginner's mind. The beginner doesn't care about being great. He just cares about this moment. That's why beginners often learn faster than advanced students. No attachment to outcome means no resistance. Yamamoto gave Takeshi a practice. For 1 week, every time you train, you will forget about improving. Forget about getting better. Just be present with the movement, like you're doing it for the first time, every time. Takeshi tried. It was harder than it sounded. His mind kept jumping to, am I doing this right? Am I improving? Will this make me better? Each time he practiced letting go, just this strike, just this breath, nothing else. By week's end, something remarkable happened. Takeshi's movements became fluid, natural, effortless, and he'd improved more in 1 week than in the previous month. When you stop trying to get somewhere, Yamamoto explained, you arrive faster. This is the second technique. Kill the outcome. Be here only. Technique 3. Oi, the 5-minute rule. Week 3 brought a new challenge. Takeshi could start. He could be present, but some tasks still felt impossibly heavy. Writing reports, cleaning equipment, studying strategy. These tasks, he told Yamamoto, feel like they'll never end, so I can't begin. Yamamoto smiled. This is where oi comes in. It means good, good. It's the practice of limiting commitment, he explained. Right now, when you think about cleaning the dojo, you think, this will take hours. Your mind rejects hours of boredom. But what if you only committed to 5 minutes? 5 minutes? Takeshi asked. 5 minutes. You tell yourself, I'll clean for 5 minutes. Then I'm free to stop. No judgment, no guilt, just 5 minutes. Takeshi tried this with the task he'd been avoiding for weeks, organizing the weapons storage. He set a mental timer. 5 minutes only. He began. After 5 minutes, something interesting happened. He didn't want to stop. The resistance had been about starting. Once started, continuing was easy. But even when he did stop at 5 minutes, he'd made progress. And the next day, another 5 minutes, then another. Within 2 weeks, he'd completed the task he'd been avoiding for months. The mind resists commitment to suffering, Yamamoto taught, but it cannot resist 5 minutes of anything. This is the third technique. Limit the commitment until resistance disappears. Technique 4, Ma, the power of nothing. Month 2. Takeshi had learned 3 techniques. He could start, he could be present, he could commit to small time frames, but he noticed something else. On days when he was scheduled to train from dawn to dusk, he felt exhausted before beginning. The thought of constant action drained him. Yamamoto observed this. You've learned to move, now you must learn to stop. This is Ma, the space between. Westerners will call it rest, but it's deeper than rest. It's strategic emptiness. He showed Takeshi his own schedule. Intense training for 1 hour, then nothing for 30 minutes. Not productive nothing, true nothing, sitting, staring, being. Your mind needs emptiness like your lungs need air, Yamamoto explained. When you schedule only action, action becomes suffocating. But when you schedule intentional nothing, action becomes a relief. For 1 week, Takeshi practiced this. Between every training session, he scheduled MA, 15 minutes of sitting, doing nothing, not meditating with a goal, just being. At first it felt wasteful, lazy, but then he noticed after each Ma period he attacked the next task with energy, with enthusiasm. The resistance was gone. Most people, Yamamoto said, destroy themselves with constant motion. They think rest is laziness. But Ma isn't laziness. It's the pause that makes the strike powerful. This is the 4th technique. Schedule nothing so action becomes effortless. If you're beginning to see how these techniques dissolve laziness without force, how they work with your mind instead of against it, join the Presence and Purpose community. Subscribe and walk this path with us as we explore the ancient methods that make discipline effortless. Technique 5. Ikigai, the North Star. Month 3. Takeshi had transformed. He could start easily, stay present, commit to small blocks, rest strategically. But Yamamoto noticed something still missing. You're productive now, the master said. But you're productive at tasks that don't matter. You avoid what you should be doing by doing what's easier. Takeshi felt this truth. He'd clean equipment instead of studying strategy, practice basic forms instead of sparring, busy but not effective. This, Yamamoto said, is because you lack Ikigai, reason for being. When you don't know why you're doing something, you'll always choose the easier path. He sat Takeshi down. Why are you training to be a samurai? Takeshi gave the expected answer. To serve my lord, to bring honor to my family. Those are your father's reasons. What's yours? Takeshi paused. Nobody had asked this. After thinking, he answered honestly. I don't know. Then discover it. Because without your reason, all technique is empty. You'll always be lazy about what matters because you don't know why it matters. For 1 week, Takeshi did no training. Instead, he sat with the question, why am I here? What do I actually want? Slowly, an answer emerged, not the one he expected. He realized he wanted to master the sword not for honor or service, but because the pursuit itself called to him. The challenge, the growth, the becoming. When he returned to training with this clarity, everything changed. Tasks aligned with his Ikigai became effortless. Tasks that didn't, he could now see clearly and eliminate. This is the fifth technique Yamamoto taught. Know your why. When direction is clear, resistance disappears. Technique 6. Seishin, the energy audit. Final month. Takeshi had learned 5 techniques, but Yamamoto had one more lesson. You've noticed, the master said, that some activities drain you while others energize you. Yes? Takeshi nodded. Sparring energizes me. Paperwork drains me. This is Seishin, spirit energy. Most people treat all tasks the same. They wonder why they're exhausted. But the samurai understood not all action costs the same. Yamamoto taught Takeshi to audit his energy. After each task, notice, did this fill me or empty me? Takeshi tracked this for 1 week. He discovered surprising patterns. Some things he thought he enjoyed actually drained him. Some things he avoided actually energized him. Now, Yamamoto said, reorganize your life. Schedule draining tasks after energizing ones. Do your Ikigai work when you're strongest. Protect your energy like you protect your sword. Takeshi restructured everything. Sparring in the morning when energy was high. Strategy study after, riding the momentum. Administrative work in small blocks between physical training. Within weeks, he had more energy than ever. Not because he was doing less, because he was strategic about what he did when. This is the 6th technique, Yamamoto concluded. Manage energy, not time. When energy is honored, laziness becomes impossible. The completion. 6 months later. Takeshi stood in the training hall, moving through sword forms, fluid, present, effortless. Yamamoto watched. Tell me, do you still struggle with laziness? Takeshi considered. No, master, but not because I overcame it, because I understand it now. When I feel resistance, I know what it's telling me. Either the step is too big, or I'm attached to outcome, or I need Ma, or I'm not clear on my Ikigai, or my energy is misaligned. And what about willpower? I don't need it anymore. These 6 techniques make action natural. I'm not forcing myself. I'm removing what was blocking me. Yamamoto smiled. You've learned the secret. Laziness was never your enemy. It was your teacher, showing you what was misaligned. Now you listen instead of fight. A young student entered, looking defeated. Master, I can't make myself train. I'm too lazy. How do I build more discipline? Yamamoto looked at Takeshi. You teach him. Takeshi bowed. The circle completes. The method complete. The ancient Japanese warriors discovered what modern people keep missing. Laziness isn't a character flaw, it's information. The 6 forbidden techniques work because they address root causes, not symptoms. Technique 1, Kaizen. Make the first step impossibly small, smaller than resistance. Technique 2, Shosin. Kill attachment to outcome. Be present with the process only. Technique 3, Oyoi. Commit to 5 minutes only. The mind cannot resist micro-commitment. Technique 4, Ma. Schedule intentional nothing. Emptiness makes action powerful. Technique 5, Ikigai. Know your actual why, not inherited reasons, your reasons. Technique 6, Seishin. Audit and manage energy. Do what energizes you when you're strongest. These aren't motivation tricks, they're mechanisms. They work with how your mind actually functions. You don't need more willpower. Willpower is finite. These techniques are infinite because they're based on understanding. Takeshi transformed not by becoming more disciplined, but by becoming more aligned. When the 6 techniques integrated, laziness became impossible. At Presence and Purpose, we keep these techniques alive, not as ancient history, as daily practice. Every week, we explore the Japanese methods that make discipline effortless. If you recognize yourself in Takeshi's paralysis, if you're tired of fighting yourself, walk with us. Subscribe. Not for motivation that fades, for mechanisms that last. The 6 techniques aren't about doing more, they're about removing what stops you. Start with Technique 1 today. Make your next action smaller than your resistance. Tomorrow, add Technique 2. Be present with that step. Build the 6 techniques one by one. This is the forbidden knowledge. Once you understand it, you can never go back to fighting yourself. Walk it with us. See you in the next lesson, warrior.